Alright folks, so this is competitive horseman tuning in to you here. I'm going to give you some video on my typical training day, take you through everything but actually cantering the circles because I don't have a camera person. And I found this little deal here in Costco to where I can stick this camera up on the fence, put my iPhone on it, and I can give you guys a little bit of information on how I go about my deal. So I want to talk to you about what I'm after here in my horsemanship, as in we've got a little Dinero colt here, and filly actually, and my whole thing that I've learned in my horsemanship is that eventually you have to get this mouth soft, really soft. You got to go through the body in order to get this soft. I want to be able to run down the arena, and if I pull the slack out of my reins, I want this to be soft and this neck here to flex while I'm pushing on my feet. If I let my feet go, they'll drag their butt. So it comes down to getting them soft in the mouth. Alright, so I want to explain to you how I get there. There's maybe not a system to training horses, but there's a system to teaching people on how to train horses. So here's the start of how we end up getting them soft here. If you can see here in this camera, if I go this way, and you'll see this horse look at me, and his head comes towards me. So there's a draw there. So we work with some natural things that happens with these horses. If I make friends with this horse, eventually he will start to look at me. And that's where I get the arc started in the body. Okay? The games that I play with them, that I learned from Pat Pirelli, I spent 4 years there with him. A lot of groundwork. And the games are invaluable on how you can create the mental attitude and the friendship. You get the friendship going and you get that draw started. Then when I get up into the saddle, I go ahead and use what I learned from Tim McQuay, the #1 reining horse trainer in the world probably, owner of Hollywood Dunnett. That's what made him famous. Spent a couple winters with him. Now we start, after we got the mental attitude going, we're going to stick them on a circle and get the emotional attitude going to where they're not emotional, but they're not emotionless. When they're emotionless, they don't want to get up there to speed because they get uncomfortable. Or there's some that they just get right up there into speed because they want to get away from you. So you've got to have the emotions in check. Does your go meet your woe? Once we get that going, we got the mental on the ground, we get the emotional up on the back to where they're not running away, and we can push on the body parts to move stuff over and get them up into their face, and they're not running off. Now, when we work on the physical, then it's all already there. We're not pulling and prodding and upsetting them, and you seduce them into it. This horse training is, what I've learned, is a big seduction thing. So here, let me just go through some things here. Again, when the games, you could call this, as somebody said to the great Tom Dorrance, do you believe in lunging your horses? He said, no, I don't believe in lunging my horses, but I believe in lateral lunging. Lateral lunging. We start to get roundness. So again, getting back to that thought, the reason that people try and use the round pen, really, if you know what you're doing, you're trying to get that arc in that body, and that comes through softness. That comes through a friendship, right? I think you guys have seen my videos before, So I'm not going to do a bunch of friendly games, but you're going to see me rub before I ask for what I need done, and then I'll rub them to a stop. All right? So hopefully everything kind of stays in the camera. Let's have some fun here. So I tried to keep her front end still and push her hind end around, just like that. Right? Now can I push her front end around like this? Look where I'm going. Get her front end pushed around. All right, rub it to a stop. Can I back her up? Put just a hand on her nose, right? So this is what we call the steady pressure game. There's 4 phases. Hair, I'm gonna rub first. Hair, skin, not working yet. Flesh, not working yet. To the bone until you get some tri. Now this horse has had this done. This horse has been on video back this winter when I was working with it. Now I've got it back here at my place because I only got 19 rides on it in Phoenix. Now it's back here in Canada and at my house. So here we go. That foot move first, then this foot, then this foot. Just light as a feather. I know I'm getting out of the camera. Bear with me, okay? We're gonna do the other side here, steady pressure. See how I'm trying to just move the hind end and keep the front end still? Now at first, the front end might move a little bit. Exaggerate to teach and refine as you go along. So just like our reins, we might have our reins real wide apart for 90 days. And we keep getting them narrower and narrower as they get smarter. And then we can have this little joystick in the middle later on. But exaggerate to teach and refine as you go along. They'll tell you when you can start narrowing your hands up, if we want to use that for an example. Move the front end around. Nice and fluid. Okay. And you see how when she moves that front end around, when she's quiet, notice her head looks the way she's going. She's got an arc going that way, which is really tough when you're on the ground, because I'm on this side and they want to look back at you, because that's fear. When they look back at you, that's fear. You want them to go that way, but they're fearful, so they're doing this, and they're getting the ribs in the wrong spot to where they can't go around. All right, so that was steady pressure. How about rhythmic pressure? Some of you might go, well, what is rhythmic pressure? Why would you use rhythmic pressure? Well, as I know now in my training, I didn't know it when I was learning rhythmic pressure. But rhythmic pressure is just a different stimuli, which I almost like better than steady pressure. So when I'm cantering around and I feel that shoulder drop, and I can just nonchalantly be looking where I'm going and shoving that rhythmic pressure hand and leg up into them and coax them into getting off of my leg or my hand rather than just holding. I seem to like the rhythmic pressure, use it way more than steady. Doesn't mean I don't use steady, but all right, so let's just see now, see how I get them hind quarters, see how she's looking. Now move the front end around, look where I'm going. All right, maybe back her up. Horse is getting impulsive, right? So you kind of got to watch your tendencies. That's the great thing about the ground games, is they let you analyze on what your horse's tendencies are. Are they a go-aholic, or they want to be a lazy-aholic? So getting somewhere in the middle, right? And you can detect that from a lot of your ground stuff. This horse here, when the owners got this horse, any kind of fear, and she would pull back and get away and run off. And it just wrecked her whole training program, because any time that you needed to do anything like this, she was just like, oh, I'm out of here. I don't trust you. And she knew, because most people wear a web halter, so they never get them light because a web halter, that's why bronc riders use a big web halter here, so when they pull on it, it means nothing. But these halters are made to, when you need them to be hard, they can be hard, and when you need them to be soft, they can be soft. I do not believe in web halters, them old green halter, or they don't have to be green, and 6-foot shanks. 6-foot, this here shank gives them time to think, and when they get in a bind. This horse here, I'm pretty sure, when they went to get him, they said they run off across the pen, got away from him. I'll guarantee you they had him on whatever halter and a 6-foot shank, got a little spooked. You only got 6 foot to try and close your hand down and stop this 1,200-pound animal from running off. Good luck with that. All right, so there's rhythmic pressure. How about a little backwards? All right, how about a little forwards? Okay, and now hopefully, I don't know what this camera will get here, but we're gonna get this horse moving around in a circle. All these little things that I do are gonna pay off. See there, where she's kind of being shitty when I ask her to move, step it up. That's all right. I'll get that out of her on the ground before I ever get on her back. Now watch what kind of arc she's in when she's in the circle. Is she arced towards me or arced away from me? So going around this side of the circle, her ribs are nice, so she can balance with her inside hind leg, and she's a little flat there. I've actually been teaching just in the last week, when I lead, I need you to pick it up. Try a little bit to go faster. I would like to canter her someday in this circle, but for right now, I just need her to speed up. She's trying. She's trying. One more time before I quit this side. I want to speed her up. She sped up. If I force this, all I'm going to have is her trying to get away from me. Another week and I can have her to where maybe I can get her to canter away in the circle, because I need this. When you think of what I get done with this, it's like my reins. When I pull on this halter on the ground, it's like my reins up there on my horse's back. If I want to turn around that barrel in a hurry and I pull on that rein and my focus goes fast, I need her to understand it means faster. But she's learning this stuff on the ground. See her take off there? Like she's like, yes sir. Get all this stuff ironed out on the ground first. Watch me, I'm going to speed her up. Lead. See how there's a little of that pullback still in her when I lead? She shakes her head. She's still like, I could pull away from you if I wanted. So I'm just seducing her into going faster. I don't need to get in a big argument here. Get a percent a day. See how she's almost? Let's try again, softly. Nice. See, even though she's being a little ignorant, she's trying to go faster. That's perfect. She didn't try and get away. Tried a little bit. That'll probably be enough of that. Now I let her get way over here to bring her back, so I get on a good angle to get her. See how I get her on a good angle on this rope to where I can get to her hips, get her disengaged. You got to know that the horse's power is in their hips. That's where they get their speed and all their power and their balance. The hips are the main thing. All right, let's just kind of tip this over here. Okay, let's just tip that like that. We're gonna do a little sideways here. Hips, get them hips straight. Cool. There we go. Sideways here. See if we can get her to go sideways. And come through. So you see how I'm getting a little bit of a, watch her pay attention here and look at me. See that? And I never, watch how she's gonna, see, I'm starting to get that arc in her body. Horses, when they get to where the natural instincts is to be comfortable. That's first and foremost for a horse, is to not have fear and be comfortable before food. They got it. They're called prey animals. So, in other words, they flight from fear. They don't really stand there and fight it, right? So when they get fearful, their head's going to go the opposite way, and they're going to get tight. Okay, in the ribs. We got it. The softer we get them mentally, the more that we can get these ribs to go like this. And I'll finish the story here. You're going to see me put a bridle on, and I'm going to tie her head around, and I'm going to move her around a little bit and start them ribs to soften up. All right. And then we'll talk about, because you're not going to be able to watch me ride today, because again, this camera is just on the fence here, and it's got no zoom or anything, so we're just gonna move her around here. Just getting this rein out of the way. And I'm gonna get this rein here. So this is my round pen, this 12-foot lead. I'll sell it to you for $1,000 bucks. So they're going to call this I'm going to call this a long flex to begin with. So I want her to flex like pretty near 90 degrees around here. And as she gets quiet here, see, I can bump these ribs out of the way somewhat. I do this daily. Use a little bit of my knee here. Come on, keep moving. See, now I'm getting more of an arc. See how my stick here is kind of pointing towards her flank. If need be, I just kind of waving this stick just a little bit once in a while when them ribs kind of poke at me. You can see her kind of bobbing with her head. She's trying to kind of pull away from me a little bit, but she's good enough. She's good enough that I can coax her into going forward now. See, that's her deal. When I get in a bind, pull back. But she's good enough now that she feels my hand. I'm building a feel. She's starting to trust my feel now. Ooh, good, good. right, now we're going to do a little bit longer flex, or shorter flex. I mean, see how her neck's not flexed very much? I'm just going to take the slack out with this other hand. Now I'm going to get her to go around. She can get out on the end of that shank now. See, when I do this, guys, I'm not the bad guy up there pulling on her. She's pulling on herself here. Get this all worked out before I get on her back. I want her to move forward into that ride. It's a hard thing to teach people and horses to move forward into that pressure. Don't lean on them. Day by day, I get her a little bit better and a little bit better. Tight to me, keep me and let me bump that flanks out of the way. You're going to see me crawl on her back here in a little bit, and you'll see me how I bump these flanks out of the way, get them ribs soft. You can kind of tell she's not really stepping around me in an arc, but the quieter I can keep her, the more she'll step around me in an arc. Sure if you guys can see that. I think you can see a little bit of it. Now we go to our shorter flex. See how I'm behind the stirrup? I gotta stay behind the stirrup or I'll stop her. Just go around me. Just work this out herself on how not to pull on that bridle. Notice how them ribs are out of the way. But they're tied out of the way. I'll show you how she's working out how to keep them ribs up and out of the way on her own. And eventually I want to do that when I'm riding, but that's another video. Maybe this weekend I'll be able to add on to it. I'll get some help to video me and I'll show you when I ride how I keep them ribs out of the way without holding them. Ooh. Job. Job. Okay guys, so I'm going to crawl up here on the back. Just tip this up a little bit here. I won't get much done here for you. But I just want to show you, to end this video before I go out into my barrel patch there and start cantering her around, how what the next part is once I get up here on the back. All right, I like to tuck my coat in because I don't want it hooking on the saddle horn. This horse doesn't buck, but you never know. Always think safety first. Get her looking at me a little bit. Shake her. All right, I think some people have seen this before. You see how she's, as soon as I crawl on her back, like she's got that nice, like I didn't have to pull there. And she's got that softness. Just a real softness. Now see how when I reach down, I pull the slack out. When I pull the slack out, and if I do this like with my students, you got to understand that horsemanship is the Pavlovian theory, where you ring a bell and then feed the dog the steak. You do that enough times and pretty soon the steak's still in the freezer and the saliva is running out of the dog's mouth because you ring the bell, right? So here, an example. I'm ringing the bell. I haven't grabbed her yet. See, she's already looking that direction. She knows what's coming. You do that enough times and ring that bell, pretty soon you don't have to pull on her. Just for shits and giggles, can I play some games up in her back? So I'm going to keep her still, but I'm going to move her hindquarters without moving her shoulders. And I move her hindquarters the other way. And I move her forequarters. Alright? Effortless. You start being able to operate these four corners because of what I did on the ground. So now that we know that we've got good control up here, I've got her flexing really nice. Okay, flexing really nice. The next thing that I do, invaluable in all the horses that I train, barrel horses especially, here is the stand in the corner thing. In order for me to get them soft up here in the brain, they have to get soft in the body or vice versa. They need to get soft in the body in order to get soft in the brain. So it's a great thing when you're in the holding pen, just to get forward movement. Get these ribs going around, up out of the way. My hand is like fixed on the back of the saddle like it's tied to a fence post. My toe gets turned way out. If I need to, in order to stay soft, that's something that in all my maneuvers, when I get in a bind and I gotta slow them down, I slow them down and put them in this little maneuver right here. I'm walking her forward, up into the bridle. The hand is fixed on the saddle. Because if it's not fixed, they get released because they can bounce your hand. When it's on the saddle like this, they know that it's tied to the saddle. Now they decide to get off, and this foot is just driving her around. Alright? Just a little bit of fun, shits and giggles. Before I stop the video and go and ride her, I'm just going to spin her a little bit. Notice how I move her around. She's got her own motor going. Whoa, good job. Alright folks, I have an Instagram account called Competitive Horseman, all one word. I have a Facebook page, business page called Competitive Horseman. I have a YouTube channel called Competitive Horseman. Put little blurbs up on Instagram. If you like what you're seeing on Instagram, go to my Competitive Horseman page. I can see that my face isn't in the camera. Sorry, but yeah, I'll try and trying to work this out to where I can take more videos without having to get any help, and you can watch me train day by day and hopefully get some valuable information. All right, stay safe.